Okay, so this is going to continue the tool tour. I got cut off anyway, but getting back, um, I've dropped this 24-volt impact off like several houses of the roofs of the houses. They've gone tumbling 15, 20 feet and smack, and it still, you know what I mean, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. And this has been a badass impact and has kept up with any Milwaukee impact that I've come across, even the fuel. I think Client Graphics and some other guys have done some tests on it. I also have the new XTR. I'll show you that in a minute. But those guys, like I said, Client Graphics did the head-to-head test. VCG Construction's another one. These guys have good channels. Check them out. But anyway, they did the head-to-head, and you'll be surprised, man. I'm telling you, Cobalt Power Tools, they're right up there, getting right there close with Milwaukee. But the difference is that the Cobalt's much more friendly on the price, and they're like within 10%. Now, do they have the tool selection that Milwaukee does? No, they don't. Do they have all the main staples? Yes, they do. Including tools for for auto industry, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, the impact here, and some of the guys in the auto industry use that, but a good staple for heat and air guys is impact. Definitely, we use those a ton. So I have that in a holster. It's one of those AWP holsters. And in the pouch up here, I got zip screws. So moving on my tool pouch, I have a UEI G2 Phoenix meter. You gotta have an electrical meter to do my work, to do service. It's like a Bible. You gotta have it. So I've had this meter for a few years. It's one of those $100 meters or whatever. I cut off somebody brand new on Craigslist for like 40 bucks one day. I was like, man, I jumped on it because it's such a great meter. I think the guy from AC Service Tech, who has a YouTube channel, awesome YouTube channel. Matter of fact, probably one of the best YouTube channels if you want to learn about heating and air. AC Service Tech, he's an awesome guy. He has awesome, videos, and he's a great teacher. So, but anyway, he uses UEI meters. I think he has the nicer one that has the temperature gauge on there. I don't care to have it because I'll show you why my gauges have it when we get to that. But anyway, you got to have a meter. So it does microfarads too, so I can check capacitors. So it's been a good meter for me. Let's see, let me close that up. Sorry, I need two hands. And then my tool belt. Like I said, Hillmore is supposed to be the snap-on for my industry. So my tool belt, I got some electrical tape. We do have to do some electrical work. I got nut drivers right here. These are minis in case if I get into a pinch. Little tiny ones, 1/4 inch, and then 5/16. Again, the staples for my industry. So I got little minis. I got a little plug tester, lights up if the plug, great for me sometimes for new construction to find out whether these guys got power wired up yet or not. I got some markers over here, some Sharpies, got to have those. Got some diagonals by Hillmore. Again, we're talking rebranded Irwin, but they're really nice. I like them. I got both sets of needle nose from Hillmore. I got the little ones there, and I got the big ones here. I got this nice Hillmore knife. This is for duct work, but after taking this out, this looks like for more than duct work or kicking ass. That's one hell of a knife. There's a saw blade on one side and a smooth on the other. That's supposed to be a duct knife. It's a nice knife. I hardly use it, but it does come in handy sometimes when I need a knife. So rather have it when I need it than not have it, and need it. So let's see. I've got another. I got an extension, one of those 1/4 inch extensions for your impacts in here. And this one, I keep a Phillips head bit in because sometimes doing what I'm doing, I'll come across a Phillips head or something. So it's nice to keep that loaded. Over here, I got a Milwaukee utility knife. One of those razor knives. So I got that over here. Always got to have a razor knife in my industry too. So I always keep one of those in the tool bag. Let's see. Those are the longer Hillmore needle nose. For my adjustable wrench, I was talking about earlier. For my adjustable wrench for my tool bag, I have a Harbor Freight Pittsburgh, and this particular one at Harbor Freight, you buy it by itself. But man, for what I do, This adjustable is freaking awesome because this leg right here, you could take it out, flip it around to have the ridges face inward, but I don't really do that. But it just opens so wide. It keeps going and going, and it can grab that one suction bolt on those 5 tons, with just a little handled wrench. So I love that for my industry. This is awesome, and it does great with those big 3/4 gas fittings too. Opens up wide enough. This opens up what I guess what I'm saying is wider than usual adjustable wrench for that size for like I think it's about an 8, it's between 6 and 8. But anyway, kudos Harbor Freight in Pittsburgh for that. That's a great adjustable wrench. It's been serving me great, and it's just perfect. So awesome job. I keep that in my pack. Hillmore, really, again, like I said, rebranded Irwin. So just consider these Irwins, Cobras. Again, I can't. Everybody knows Cobra pliers are like the greatest pliers. They can really do a good job, have a good angle head to grab on stuff and hold it tight. So good set of pliers. Wire strippers. This is what I use for wire strippers. Again, rebranded Irwin, but Hillmore. And I got the strip up top, and I can make my own dog ear fittings and crimp down below, and then there's like a bolt cutter there in the middle. You can put a bolt and cut down, but I never use that for that. I only use it as strips and crimps, and these are great. So I like this style. I don't like the style where the strip is in the middle here. If you're stripping wire, this is like the best. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, they're great. So screwdrivers in here. I've got a Klein. I think it's a Phillips 3. It's the real tiny one. So I don't use it that much, but I keep it in there just because it's a nice screwdriver. For my thermostat screwdriver, or my real tiny flathead, again, it's Hillmore. And it's cool that they got it marked up there so I could see it from a downward angle in my tool bag. So I use that for thermostats. Here's my flip nut driver. I love this. So it's a 1/4 and 5/16. The 5/16 is out now, but you just, you can take out the center insert and flip it around, and it becomes the 1/4 inch. And it's got a ball detent. Sorry, it's hard to do this with one hand, but and it's a 1/4 inch on the other side, but it's got a ball detent. I don't know if you can see it right there, but yeah, again, that's a Hillmore product, and I love that flip nut driver. Again, in my industry, 1/4 inch 5/16 for those bolts is what we're dealing with. And I have the Hillmore multi screwdriver. Now this thing's awesome. I got a flat bit here. I got a big Phillips there, and that becomes 5/16 nut driver there. It's like one of those 11-in-1s or whatever. So I put that back in, right? So I'll take out the center shaft, and I can flip it around. And on this side now, I've got a Schrader valve puller, to pull my Schrader valves at the condenser. And I can flip it around. And on the other side, I've got I guess that's the number 2 square drive. It works great in electrical boxes and on the breakers and stuff. So it's got that. When you take it out of that hole too, by the way, that's a 1/4 inch nut driver. There's another nut driver when you take that sleeve out, and then when you do take that sleeve out, on the other side of that sleeve, there's another flip nut in there that's got the Phillips number 3, the small Phillips, and the small flats on the other side. So I'm going to put it all back together. And I like to put it back a certain way to where my big nuts out, because the other ones, those are the only thing I wish that these companies would do when they sell these multi-tools is if they would sell the bits independently, because I don't know, they've got to use their heads and know that we lose these things, So, and then you got to buy a whole new frickin' screwdriver, and that shit drives us crazy. So, but I keep it out this way, so this bit stays in pretty good. But the little bit sometimes will fall out, and you lose a little bit, and you'll be like, ah. And this is an awesome screwdriver for my industry. This gives me every option that I need at the condenser between nut drivers and head tips. to get all the work done in one screwdriver. So I could bring this out and use it as a nut driver and everything. So this is a really good screwdriver. And the last but not least, in there, I gotta have some Snap-on in my bag, guys. All right, so it's a Snap-on 1/4-inch nut driver, and it's ratcheting. And it's got a knurl here. Again, can't say enough about it. It could be a nut driver or a 1/4-inch bit driver, but again, it's a Snap-on product, and you could take that cap off and store some bits in the handle. But again, great nut driver by Snap-on. Obviously, warranty for life, so Snap-on, good stuff. Anyway, that was it for my tool bag. So I'm gonna just carefully put some things back gently until I can get them back the way I like them, and set them aside and continue on. All right, so down here, these are just some empty bags. You know, that's one of those X lugs for car lug. These are some empty Cobalt, you know, socket kit boxes. In this bag, I've got a Cobalt sprayer. It's one of those old Cobalt. I think it's one of those, or not Cobalt, I'm sorry, Craftsman. I think it's one of those old USA ones. Hold on a minute. Paint sprayers. By air. I've never used it yet, but I've gotten it. And I've seen some air sprayers, you know, lately, and they seem kind of a little bit cheap. So, but it's like an all metal paint spraying can. You hook up the air, so that's awesome. And then I also in here have a couple Dremels and some Dremel tools. Again, something I acquired, not something I bought. So I haven't had a use for any of that, or this. So it just kind of stays in there for now until one day when I might need it. Then at least I've got it. So hold on, I'm gonna put you down while I two hands get this up. I'll throw that back for now. Alright, so anyway, getting back, going up the shelves now. I got a Craftsman drill bit set that will fit in impacts and stuff, and then I've got like those uni bits in there. I've got a couple of them that taper up in different sizes. Those are great for my industry. And then I've got a DeWalt, a bit set, you know what I mean? It's got your Phillips, your flat, and I think some Torx and a couple other things in there, you know, just a regular bit set. You know, those are good to have. My Milwaukee pack out, and you know, pack out's a great concept, and you'll notice that this is all I have from them is these little tiny organizers. I had the little thin one and then the thicker one. So the thin one, because again, just particular for my industry, I don't have much electrical stuff. You know, I got to carry some wire nuts, some fuses, and some dull gears, you know, to make connections inside the units and stuff. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I carry. And, you know, to wonder what pack out I needed, I just grabbed everything that I thought I could use to pack in trays and made little piles, and then kind of made notes. And then kind of went to Home Depot and compared my notes to the pack out bin, and decided that this little thin one was great for my electrical. It works out perfectly. And then this one is for it's kind of like many things, really. It's like I use this for condensers, you know, being out at the air conditioning condensers, and for many other things. I got some Teflon tape here. I've got some core pullers, and these are some big hoses and stuff, you know, for vacuum for my industry. These are some TXV, you know, clips and gaskets and orifices. These are kind of like screw caps that go on the units of the service valves. Some different brass pieces that I use to interchange sizes and stuff like that, because air conditioning for automotive has one size, and air conditioning for residential has another size, and mini splits have another size. So I've got some adapters in there and some Nylog and, you know, kind of stuff like that. That made sense for this kind of container, and it was a perfect fit and has some room to grow. So pack out a plus for there. I might get some more pack out for my wall of tools that I'll show you in a minute, because I do take some of my tools with me. Okay, let me put some of this back. So right here in this box, pipe threader, and I don't do a lot, so you know, I've got a pipe threader by hand on a machine. So my die sizes are 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. And there's my head and my handle. Again, just simple. It's a pipe threader, guys. It makes threads on the end of black pipe. So we've already seen this duct cutter from Hillmore earlier. So for measuring units, I have a couple of different things which I'll pull out. Number one, like for any of my measurement, Testo is where it's at. Testo makes great stuff. They're like one of the benchmark leaders in the industry for measuring lots of things, and not just in my industry but in many. So this is the beginnings of a wireless probe kit that I'm building from them. So I've got 2 pressure sensors and 2 temperature sensors, so I can get a report on my phone about what's going on at a customer's condenser. So, and some spare batteries in there, so I love that. That's there. You know, they make other probes to, you know, stick in the units and stuff, and you can use their app, or there's other apps that you can use that really give you a great picture of how a customer's air conditioner is running. So that right there is a great tool. It's not cheap. Neither is this. These are my gauges, folks. I've had these for a few years. I bought them from Testo Direct. They are the 557s, and it's a 4-port gauge. Okay, so you know, I've got a 3/8 port and 3/4 inch ports, digital screen. This thing also has Bluetooth. It can connect to my phone. It can generate a report. And I'm telling you, these things are awesome. Testo, thank you for making such a great gauge for people like me in the service industry. It's just wonderful. I can, you know, download refrigerants with the app, you know, right into their Bluetooth. It does many different kinds of refrigerants. I've got the temperature clamps, and I've got the vacuum gauge. So when I'm pumping down, I can see how many microns I'm going, see how the quality of my vacuum. But again, really great gauges. Over here, I got my service wrenches, you know, because I'm opening and closing those valves, or I'm using this, you know, box. So I keep those in here. I've got a couple, and they're ratchet style. And then I've got a couple of core plug removers there for valve core stems and stuff. I can change them on the fly without losing anything. This is an atomizer, this blue thing. It makes the R410 or whatever refrigerant kind of a wet vapor instead of a liquid, so you don't slug compressors. So I use that when I'm filling. And I got a couple of spare wires. Other things I keep in here too are like spare batteries and extra gaskets and valve core stems. You know, I keep them in here and stuff. So, but anyway, those are my gauges, and I take good care of them. I keep them covered and stuff. So those are my gauges. Let me put that stuff back. I'm gonna try and hurry up and cruise along here. So that's it of my heat and air stuff, I think, right now. So here's some miscellaneous stuff that I've got. I got, you know, some bits for, you know, and some nut drivers. This is all my air stuff, my grease gun for the truck. You know, if I'm greasing my ball joints, which I do regularly. You guys, you know, take care of your suspension. It'll take care of you for a long time. But anyway, I got some air tool stuff here. Don't have a compressor yet, but I got it ready. Got some Gorilla super glue, some tape, some soldering, my solderer and soldering iron. I also have some packet of grease fittings from Harbor Freight. Great again, Harbor Freight for that kind of stuff. This shelf here, just some extra paints and paint rollers and stuff. Extra screws, a magnetizer and a demagnetizer for a screwdriver, which is great. Spare flashlight that's plugged in. Welding goggles, a backup meter in case if my main one goes down. I got one of those power probe things that lights up. I'm looking for power up here. I got 2 of these. This is my Centec one. Let me open it up. Anyway, they're just calipers. I got a digital and analog. So digital and analog calipers. Up here, 4 torque wrenches, 2 Cobalt digitals, 2 Pittsburgh Harbor Freight click types. So a lot of these Harbor Freight ones up on the internet. I'll show the Cobalt ones real quick. I'll show the 1/2-inch drive, what their tech wrench looks like. You know, again, they do the foot pounds, and I don't know, I think my 3/8 one does the inch pounds. Let me get this thing off here real quick, but I think they do tech angle too. They're around 150, 200 bucks. Let me open it up and see if I can get this puppy in there. But it's got a nice ratchet on the end of it. You know, clicks real nice. Get it out and click it. See if you can hear it click. So it's got big teeth. It's got big teeth. Sorry if that doesn't sound too good, but it does click each individual, and it performs nicely. Like I said, it'll do tech angle and stuff. So, and my 3/8 looks just the same with that style color. It's just a little smaller. So, and I think everybody knows the click type torque wrenches, especially the Pittsburghs from Harbor Freight. So I don't care what anybody says, you know, about the dependability of those Harbor Freight torque wrenches. The style is the same as some of the other name brands. You know, the style where there's some kind of spring inside or whatever, tension spring or whatever. You can always double check your calibration. There's ways to do that. So, you know, so you can actually set your own reliability with those torque wrenches. So, in my opinion, kudos Harbor Freight, and I've got them and they work great, along with my Cobalts. Again, I love my Cobalt tools. Okay, up here, I'm not going to start taking these down. I got so many. They're all my blow molded cases. This one I'll show you. It's my car scanner. It's a Zurich, but it's not just the entry level one. It's the ZR13. So you see it on the back. It does everything almost, but no bi-directional. Cost me about $200, but it, you know, does domestic, Asian and European cars. It can actually stream live data on, you know, domestic Asian and European cars. Graph and record. It has fix assist. It has a lot of stuff, but anyway, it's a really good reader. I had trouble figuring out which one I wanted to go first. And again, kudos Harbor Freight, by the way. That's a Harbor Freight product, and it's worked great on my cars. And again, I have a Honda, which is definitely an Asian, I think. It's Japanese car, so I can't remember. But and then I have a Ford, obviously American. It works on both, no problem. Live data and everything. In my blow molds, I've got the Pittsburgh Master Fuel Injector Pressure Test Kit, which has been really great. The thing's really packed with stuff. I haven't had any problem with it. It's been a good product from Harbor Freight. I've got their slide hammer, the blind hole bearing puller, which is great. These are my set of snap ring pliers from Icon. I got a full set of snap ring pliers. These are the new tools over at Harbor Freight. We'll get into them. I have a few more of their things. These are not all Pittsburgh stuff. I've got their higher end stuff. A lot of the Matic stuff. This is the Matic ball joint service kit, because on my Ford Explorer I do have drive shaft and U-joints, so I anticipate needing that. I'm going to take this out of the way for the time being. You know what that is. That's one of those things that's a one-hand thing that fill up your refrigerant. I also have gauges, obviously, because I do heat and air. But that's just something I had extra laying around from a product. Let's see what this one is. So I have the Harbor Freight bolt type wheel puller. So there's a lot of bolts and stuff. It's a puller kind of set. I've got the compression tester from Pittsburgh Harbor Freight. It's not the standard one, it's the quick connect one, so it's a little higher quality. This right here is their oxygen sensor socket pull kit. It pulls, you know, has all those sockets that pull the different kinds of sensors on your engine. Let's see. engine and transmission oil pressure test kit. It's exactly what it does as it reads. Let's see. Pittsburgh front wheel drive axle. That's my set of axle nuts. I've got like 8 different sockets in there, big ones for different kinds of axle nuts. Maddox. That's my disc brake caliper service toolkit, so I can service brake calipers, which is great. I've got the Maddox oil filter kit. There's 3 kind of big metal sockets in there to pull certain oil filters, and this is the new Maddox. It's what services the fuel lines and the transmission core lines and all that. It's the clips and all that. It's a whole set. So that's a new product, by the way, out just this month. I got that. So that does it for that shelf. Okay, over here, let me see if I can get back. Up top is my Snap-on tool bag. It's loaded with socket trays, just empty socket trays, that's all. So top shelf here, I got the Cobalt wet dry vac and the fan. That fan is great, especially when I'm working in a hot attic. Let me tell you, those attics down south here, this afternoon I was up in one, it's 150 degrees. So I've got several of their flashlights. There's 2 of the, I want to say those are like 750 lumen or whatever. They're really bright, and they got adjustable heads, which is cool. I got a pair of those. And then I've got their original one down here, which is just the 200 lumen one. So I'm going to briefly go over and just do a little slideshow here of all the power tools. They're all 24 volt system here. I've got some 40. But anyway, that right there is the new XTR Impact. I don't bring that with me because yeah, my other one is still trucking good, and I just don't want to get the new one dirty. It looks so awesome. And I've got a nice 1000-watt floodlight. That thing is great when I'm working at night underneath the house on new construction. I got the blower tool. This was great for blowing up my kids' pool. Awesome. I've got the angle grinder. I've got the XTR circular saw. I think it's that 7 1/4, 7 1/2 or whatever. And it's got a brake on it. That thing is awesome. I mean, that thing is awesome. So I got the whole XTR set when it came out. It was just too awesome to turn up. So next shelf, I've got the tire inflator kit, which is awesome. I've got the XTR hammer drill. This thing is absolutely freaking beast. It'll go through the concrete, no problem. Orbital sander. I got the Bluetooth speaker. It also charges your phones. It's got a USB on the back. I've got the multi-tool, you know, that does that little floor trim and little hard to reach cut areas. I've got the Cobalt ratchet. The only thing about this ratchet I think that Cobalt missed on is that if you don't notice, this thing is absolutely huge. For a 3/8 ratchet, it's just huge. The Milwaukee ones and everything are about half this size, and that's really kind of what you want there, Cobalt. It's well made, don't get me wrong, it's going to do a good job, but I think we need to worry about getting that like half the size. And I think you'll get more people interested in that. Even I am going to go to Milwaukee. I'm going to get some of their, eventually get some of their fuel. I got another 1.5 minutes to go over every this before it goes off, and I got to go to a part 3. Here's my battery shelf. I think I've got like 20 batteries. I got them from 1.5s, 2s, 4s, 4 high outputs. I got a 6 back there. I've got several chargers. Here's my 40 volt batteries. I got 2 amp hour ones for my weed eater and my lawnmower. All my lawn products are fuel free. They're all battery, and it works great. I love it. Don't have to buy gas. I got a Black & Decker. It's the only thing Black & Decker I got. It's a plug-in jig. And the only reason why I got it is because I got it for nothing. So, but I wanted to get the battery jig. 1/2-inch small style impact from Cobalt. The smaller impact 1/2-inch. I don't have the bigger one. I'd love to get it. It's a beast. There's the XTR Sawzall. The thing's a beast. There's my original hammer drill. Still hammering away. The original 24 volt. The little 3-inch circular saw. One-handed recip saw. And up under here I have a bag that has all my spare bits and stuff like that, and spare blades for all this Cobalt stuff. Box of brushes, box of seat clamps, and there's my clamps. And back there is a toolbox loaded with screws. We're going to go to a part 3.